Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. Cooking with Keith, daily dinners for dollars. We're going to do a little St. Patrick's Day special for you today. We are going to do a shepherd's pie with Guinness and roasted garlic mashed potatoes. I got a lot of prep done, stuff out of the way already, hopefully to expedite this process for you. And I guess my goal here is hoping that to give you the confidence to where you can hopefully surprise your family and loved ones with this one on St. Patrick's Day. So let me get my hands washed. Let's go ahead and let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get about a pound of ground beef going, and we'll get sauteing that. We'll get some onions in there. We'll do our normal thing and hit it with some garlic powder, salt and pepper, onion powder, and we'll go from there. Get our fires on, get everything good and hot. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees also here. That's gonna help us keep things moving right along. So what I got my onion already diced up here. I got just under about a quarter of a large Vidalia or Spanish onion. I've got 2.5 pounds of ground beef here. So I'm gonna handle this now and get it out of the way so that I can rewash my hands again and start going with the other stuff here. So 2.5 pounds, I'm gonna take about half of that. We'll get that going. We'll wrap this up. Put this back away real quick. Always wash your hands after handling raw meat. I do at least. So we got our skillet on high. Starting to sizzle a little already. We are going to go ahead and take our onions and just get those in there now, get them out of our way. One less thing to worry about. Oven's already going, so we're good there. Like I said, we're going to do the roasted garlic in our mashed potatoes, and they are going to be dynamite. All you do is we're going to take a whole head of garlic. Just going to trim the head off it. Nothing major, it's not rocket science. Keep it simple, have fun with it, and enjoy what you're doing. Makes it easy. Dishes always stink, but you can always con somebody else into doing those if you make a good enough meal. So we got our thing there. We are going to get a pan out for that garlic. All we're going to do, hit that with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Little or a lot, don't matter. We're roasting that for roughly 20 minutes, maybe 15, probably 20. My oven's at 400, so I'm gonna check it in 15. We'll call it, 15 should be about right. Now, as far as our mashed potatoes go, what we have, I've already prepped them all. They have medium-sized red skin potatoes. All we're gonna do is cut that in half lengthwise, cut it in half lengthwise. We're gonna cut them into little cubes. That's gonna speed up our cooking time on that again. Since everybody's busy with daily life, nobody wants to spend all day cooking. So cut them smaller, they're gonna boil faster. And you'll be able to get the dinner done faster. So, awesome. We're going to get those into the pan. We're going to get some water running, get that water hot. That, once again, will speed up the process. We're going to hit those with a half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to take them, just cover the potatoes with some water, and get them on there and get them covered and get them boiling. Hamburger's sizzling away behind me. And yes, it's a shepherd's pie, and it's supposed to be lamb, but I always use ground beef. It's more accessible, and it's just how I do it. If you want to use lamb, feel free. You don't have to change anything in the recipe. And everything will be the same. And comment on this and let me know what you think. Last video I did was French onion soup and the homemade Caesar salad with fresh croutons, and I ate it afterwards, obviously, and I made it 100 times, and it's always good. But I just like little comments, little feedback. Let me know what you thought of the recipe, if you got a chance to make it, or I've heard a bunch of people say that made them hungry, and I appreciate that. That's why cooking channel is so hard to watch, especially late at night when you got the munchies and you're starving. So we're going to break up this hamburger. It's cooking real well. We're going to completely cook this hamburger, and we're going to kind of do what we did before. This is going to be like another. All right, so we're breaking up this hamburger. It's frying up good. We're going to cook it completely. Got our onions in there. We're going to get our seasonings in there. We're going to hit it with half teaspoon onion powder. Don't be afraid of your seasonings. Seasonings are your friend. They're my friend. I love to over-season stuff. So that is, I got a half teaspoon of onion powder, full teaspoon of garlic powder. I have a steak seasoning. It's just a blend. I'm going to go with a full teaspoon of that. You got to watch this stuff. It's usually pretty salty. Excuse me. And I'm going to go with a full teaspoon of sage also. Ground sage. Real powdery substance. Great flavor. Great aroma. So that's in. Also, we're going to go with a tablespoon of, let's call it 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire. So we got our 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire. Like I said, the steak seasoning is super salty, so we're going to add salt to this again, but it won't be till after we add our thickening agent into this, which is flour again. As always, it's what I always use. So, cruising along with this. Potatoes are boiling. Garlic is roasting. And what we're going to do is just make a little boat full of it. And once the final subject here, or the final goal here is, once the meat's done, if you're not familiar with the shepherd's pie, we're simply going to put the beef mixture and gravy in first. Then we'll top it with the mashed potatoes and hit it with a little Parmesan, throw it in the oven roughly 35-40 minutes, and let that brown off, and you'll pull it out, and it will be delicious. Alright, so we're back with this whole shepherd's pie thing. We had to pause it for a moment in order to let things cook off and get to where we needed to be. It's probably been about 15 minutes. Potatoes are boiled. The meat is completely fried up, and our roasted garlic is ready to go and come out of the oven. So first off, we're going to go ahead and pull that roasted garlic. And we're just going to cheat. We'll leave that there because we're going to put our finished shepherd's pie on that pan in case it bubbles over or something of that nature. So our hamburger is all browned up, ready to go. We're going to add our thickening agent to that, which once again is just flour. So we will sprinkle 4 tablespoons of flour in here because we are going to add 1 cup of Guinness beer. We're going to add 1 cup of beef stock, and we are going to add the old traditional 1 cup of cola. because that's how I like to do all of my beef gravies and brown sauces. I like cola in them as opposed to wine. But that's just a me thing. So we got our flour in there. We're going to go ahead and mix that up really well. If you're using because this is daily dinners for dollars, I don't expect you to be going out every day to buy all this stuff. This is stuff you should normally have in the house. If you're using a fatty grind hamburger, which is like a 80-20 or a 70-30 or anything like that, you're going to want to drain this. You're going to want to drain off the excess grease in that hamburger before you do the whole flour step here. So the flour's in, and it is doing its thing. Now, we are toasting the flour. We are checking for temperatures here so we don't burn ourselves. We're going to go ahead and drain these potatoes. Careful here. Steam will burn the living crap out of you if you're new to this whole cooking thing. We're going to go ahead and drain. So those are drained off. We're going to go straight to the pan with them. Then we are going to grab our butter, throw our butter in right away while it's nice and hot. Let that get melting with our potatoes. Wipe our hands off. We are going to go with our salt and pepper. Full teaspoon of salt with your mashed potatoes. Go with a half teaspoon of pepper. I'm not trying to burn your face off, just give them good flavor. Then we're going to take our mixer. We're going to mash it all in. We're going to get it started real fast. It's going to help break the butter down. It's going to help it melt a lot faster. Now we'll let that go for a minute and go to work on our garlic. Okay, reverse side of the knife, roasted garlic. Reverse side of the knife. Get a good grip of it and mash it down. And your garlic should just pop out. Not real tricky. It is hot. Sometimes you just gotta take one for the team. Get it done. Just mash it down with your fingers the rest of the way, close to your knife. Be careful. We don't want any injuries. Throw that out. Okay. See what I said? Things are great sometimes, terrible others. Roasted garlic, mash it. Mash it. It's super soft. It's super sugary. It's really good. You eat it just like this. So we're going to mash that up. Now we're just going to scrape it, if I can get it. We're going to transfer that over to our mashed potatoes. Try not to make an absolute mess. We're going to come back to our flour, get that moving around. Flour's toasting off, giving it a nice nutty flavor, which is what I always like to say about building our levels of flavor, step by the time, step by step. Now we are gonna, let's go with the beer. We got a nice, healthy, hefty Guinness stout here. We're gonna go with the cup, sneak one in. We're gonna go with the cup of Guinness stout. Save the rest for later. Slowly add it. Remember, that's gonna keep lumps out of our gravy here. Slowly add it in, mixing all the time. Little at a time, little at a time. This is going to be a real thick based gravy, and then we'll lean it out one more time right before we put it in the baking dish before it goes in the oven. And that way, by the time it bakes for 30 minutes and the potatoes brown off, it will still hold some sort of moisture and not just be a thick, mess, pasty mess. Alright, so we'll stir that in. We're going to go with our cola next. And for those of you that don't believe in my cola thing, make it without it. Make it once with it, make it without it. Get back to me. Trust me, you'll be a believer. This ain't the first time I've ever made it. It's not the first time. I'm not just making this up on the fly. Stir it all in really well. I don't know if I mentioned it yet. Next, one of our steps in here, whenever I get to it, is going to be our frozen peas and carrots. Part of the whole shepherd's pie thing. So that's mixed in. See, we got a nice pasty kind of thing going on. Alcohol's cooking off out of the beer, leaving nothing but all the hops and the herbs and the stoutness of that heavy Guinness. And take a sip of your stuff beforehand, If you've never had a Guinness stout, it's got a chocolatey, I don't know, I'm not a big stout drinker, but it's you got to know what you're working with, just like your wines. If you drink some wine, you got to go ahead and know what it tastes like. No, you take a sip of your wine, so that way you know where you're heading, and that'll guide you once you start figuring out what you're doing. That'll guide you to what seasonings, how much you want to use of something, or how little you want to use of something. But yeah, if you don't know what it tastes like, you don't know what you're adding to your dish here. So that's all cooking up just fine and dandy. I'm gonna go with our normal cheap little deal of my bouillon. Making my own beef stock here. Because I want it stronger, I'm going with 2 teaspoons this time per cup. I shorted that one. So, mix it up. I'm going to add that in. I don't think I am. Yeah. I'm going to mix that in, let that cook. I did add the seasoning, yes. Okay. If I didn't add the steak seasoning, teaspoon of steak seasoning. But I did, I'm pretty positive. So now we got a real wet mixture here. We're going to leave our heat up. We're going to mix it in really well. And we're going to let the heat do its thing and the flour. And between the two of them, you can see that now, it's real runny. And it will tighten itself up. So while that's going there, we're going to jump back over to here, get mashing our potatoes. We're halfway home. And all we got to do is sit back and watch and wait for it to cook. Milk, heavy cream, add about, we'll call it a 1/4 cup. Stomp that down in there a little so you don't hit the button and spray it everywhere. I don't know why they put a low on any of these things because I've never used it. I just hit high and let it rip. Spin your bowl, that way you don't have to sit there and do this. I just spin the bowl. My own personal thing. Do it however you want. Doesn't matter to me. This recipe, I'm always for telling you to try everything your own way and add this, subtract that. Try this recipe as is. This is right on the money. This is a really good recipe. And it's really easy. It takes a little longer, but it finished product. Your family will love you. Your loved ones will love you more. Your family will love you more too, probably. But yeah, just keep whipping these in. I left half the skins on the red tin potatoes, simply for color, flavor. It's something I like to do, you know. I've always heard you eat with your eyes before your stomach, you see it before you eat it, so I always like everything to look good. That's why I take the little bit of extra time I do for the final dish. I call these done, you know. You can blend them all you want, mix them all you want. Dynamite. They're gonna bake, so let's go ahead and add a little more milk. And I don't get to use my mixer a whole lot, so go ahead and give me some mixing time in. Keep them spinning. Give that a rest for half a second. Stir this again. It's tightening back up. Slowly but surely. And like I said, you're going to put this in the bottom of a dish. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Mixed peas and carrots. Now's the time to add those. We're just going to put as much or as little as you want. I put a lot. I like my vegetables. They're good for you. Mix it in. Get the ratio where you want it. I always want more. Never satisfied. Alright. And also, the trick on that right there, adding those frozen peas and carrots, is if your sauce there, your gravy beef mixture sauce is runny and thin, it would cool down if you were to shut the temperature off and allow it to cool down. Well, I didn't shut the temperature off. I still have it on high. And all I simply did was add frozen peas and carrots, which obviously dropped the temperature exponentially. So, that is all we're waiting on now is that. You know what? It's this whole filming thing. I got my Parmesan ready. Garlic's already in. I thought I forgot the garlic. So we're good. We're mixing everything on schedule. All we're waiting on, other than me playing with the mixer, is the gravy with our beef mixture to tighten up. And like I said, we don't want to overdo that because it's going to go ahead in the oven for 30 minutes and bake. And it will, it's not going to do a whole lot there, but it will do some. So you want to have it close to where you were, or to where you want it. Handy dandy rubber spatula. I'm perfect with it there. Just got a little run to it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, you know our Guinness is a little chocolatey and crazy stout. But that's what we got here. I mean, it's got a little runniness to it, but it's, you'll see, going to be perfect. And all we're going to do, put us a layer in the bottom of our pan. I got enough to make like 3 more. And come over here, get your rubber spatula wet first. It'll work with you a little better. And then I'm just going to hit this. Don't put one on top of the other, spread them out a little bit, because it's going to allow you to knock it down that much easier. And all you're going to do, one of these, smooth that bad boy out, just like downtown. Throw that there. Now, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to top the very top of this. Once again, for the eye appeal, we're going to hit it lightly with some paprika, which will help it brown up and give it good color. We're going to go ahead and hit it with some dried parsley. Don't overdo it. Don't put a glob of it. Spread it out. Take your time with it. Have fun with it. A little Parmesan, a little more Parmesan. And that's what you're working with. That is going into the oven. Absolutely perfect. Layered shepherd's pie. Family's gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Straight into the oven, 400 degrees. And we're gonna let that go for, we're not necessarily a time thing. 400 at 400 degrees, we're probably gonna go roughly 25 minutes, I would guess. And or until the top is to the brownness that you desire. So I have one already done here that I will break out and show you so we can not make you stay all day. This is what you are after. We got a nice crusty top to our shepherd's pie. Because of the binding agent with our flour, it should help. It's not going to stay together. It'll help it hold together a little and keep it from being runny. And then I'll go ahead and just serve you a little piece of it. Big piece of it or all of it, whatever you want. Kind of a mess to serve. First piece is always the hardest. Look at that. Money. A little sloppy looking, but it will be delicious. Shepherd's pie. Just like that. I appreciate y'all stopping in, hanging out with me. That's the shepherd's pie. Just wanted to try to help you guys out so you could possibly make that for your family on Sunday and surprise them. And it's not as hard as it looks. I hope it didn't look hard. I tried to make it look easy and keep it easy. So a little bit of cooking time involved, and but that's not a big deal because you're supposed to be enjoying yourself anyhow. So I appreciate you stopping by and joining me. I hope you'll comment and subscribe and stick around, and look forward to seeing you the next time. Enjoy.